What up, what up, what up, what up? Come on in, come on in. Good afternoon. This is Streams, another episode of Streams. My name is Red. I haven't done an episode in a little minute. I saw this clip just a minute ago, inspired me to kind of spew my thoughts, I guess. So I'm gonna go ahead and just display the clip, and then we'll rant about it.
I've been in the business 24 years, right? And I've seen people go from nothing to the biggest stars in the world. I've seen people go from one role to winning Academy Awards and doing all this shit. And what I realized yesterday thinking about it, we're lying to our kids, dog. And I think that's a big problem in our community. We tell our kids that and this is fresh on my heart. Like, I literally just came to this conclusion last night. We tell our kids if they do right and they make the good grades and they go to the programs and they will become successful. If you work hard enough, your work will be paid off. And that's not true. Success is given. It's not earned. Because you can be the most brilliant. If one person don't tap you, each one of y'all. There were people who could hit harder, who could catch better, who could run faster. But somebody said, you're the one. And the other 50 behind you fell off. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And because of that, I don't know what that emotion or that feeling is the scary thing. Because I went to all the programs. I've done Broadway. I've done off-Broadway. I've been in the business 24 years. I've been in 2 Academy Award films. I've done independent films. I've done major motion pictures. Now I'm Captain America. So now what?
Hold up. I don't want that song to play, but yeah. So before I even get to the meat of the of this meal, let's just get the fact of the matter out the way that historically I cannot stand Anthony Mackie. It's kind of like a running joke at this point. All the Marvel movies, all the way back to the 8 Mile movie, which was over 20 years ago at this point. I couldn't stand Anthony Mackie. I always thought he was kind of a cringe actor. I don't like his face. I don't like the way he talked. I always thought he was kind of corny, right? But this last Captain America movie came out, Brave New World, I believe it's called, and he's the star of it, and he's the new Captain America. And it came out, I want to say January, February, it came out. And I was joking in a group chat with my mans and my cousins and my homies and shit. Like, I don't like Anthony Mackie at all, but the movie was so good that it almost changed my mind about him. And I think as an actor, he's been doing much better than he used to. He is a bit of an over actor to me. He's not very believable to me. Even still, he's not the best, but he's gotten better. But I like his new, persona. He's a truth teller. He seems a bit fearless. When the Captain America movie was either just coming out or right after it came out, he was talking about how the persona, or sort of like the idea of what Captain America is almost sort of like not as heroic and not as all-inclusive as they would like to paint him to be. You know what I'm saying? That was his angle. He was talking about Captain America, saying that he wasn't, it's not, he's not representing America because America has never represented all of us. Is basically what it seemed like he was saying. That was my interpretation of it. But with this clip that we're watching, that I just played here, he's talking about the idea of success. And, the age-old adage is that hard work pays off. Hard work is supposed to pay off. You're supposed to work as hard as you can so that the fruits of your labor will eventually blossom and you will be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. And what he's speaking to is that we're lying by telling our children that hard work doesn't necessarily pay off. Because now, another adage that we've all heard all of our lives is that it ain't what you know, it's who you know. So it's like, which one is true? While I do think it depends on your particular field or what category that it is that you're working hard in, um, I think there's truth to both. As an engineer, I've worked hard and it has given me plenty of fruit that I've been able to pick from this tree. My name rings well outside. People know that I do good work, which in turn has brought me a lot of word of mouth clients. And my name and my legacy has kind of carried me on its back without me having to do too much heavy lifting. If I had to do, if I did shitty work, bad work, it would sort of halt me in my tracks, because if I do bad work for one person, and that person would tell the next person, hey, don't fuck with him. He's not trustworthy. He does bad work. He's slow. He's got a bad ear, or whatever the case might be. But I will say, as an engineer, I also feel like sometimes I feel like I've reached a ceiling, and that the opportunity isn't going to go much further than what it is now, which is fine, because it's allowing me to eat. It's allowing me to, to thrive in a way. I'm not rich by any means, but I can take care of myself for the most part with what I do. But there is a ceiling, at least it seems like it. Now, I'm not saying this is the end for me, but I am saying that without sort of like seeking someone to pull me over the hump, I don't see how I could break into the industry, the music industry. I would need to sort of like bump into an artist that has a bigger following, who has connections or is signed to a label, a major label, that could expose me to a new thing. But until then, I'm sort of like, I am where I am. For instance, just last week, I mixed a record where Westside Boogie was featured on it. Westside Boogie is signed to Eminem on Shady Records. Westside Boogie heard the mix. He did this feature, and it almost seemed kind of like whatever, like he doesn't really care what happens. He sent the record, he got paid for the feature. I mixed the record, and the dude that I mixed the record for, which is Love Boat Jack, he sent the record out to Boogie sort of to get his approval, or just to let him know what's going on, just to keep him abreast. And Boogie said, hey man, who mixed this record? And he like, oh, it's my dog, my engineer that I found off of this website, and he been mixing all my records, whatever he said. I wasn't there. But after he got off the phone with Boogie, he calls me and tells me this. Like, Boogie was like, hey man, who mixed this record? Because he got me sounding good. And I'm like, hell yeah. He like, Boogie's engineers are kind of like not that good. And I'm like, yeah, I went and listened to some of his records before I mixed this song. And his engineers don't have him sounding the best, especially for the level of artist that he is. Anyway, long story short, I say all that to say, right now, I'm trying to tap in with Boogie to get him to sort of like maybe bite at the opportunity to fuck with me, because he was impressed by the mix, and I don't think his prior work was mixed the best. And I think I could lend to that. So if I could get Boogie to pull me into his process, into his camp, or to tap me as the engineer that he uses to mix, it could sort of catapult me to a higher level, which will expose me to other artists, more fans, blah, blah, blah. This is the reason people chase clout. The higher up the ladder you go, the more visible you are, right? What Anthony Mackie is talking about is sort of like the film industry. And he even alluded to it being true in the sports industry. While I disagree with the sports part. I'm not going to say I disagree wholly. I think all industries have their level of biases and favoritism or even nepotism that's being played, that's playing a part in the selection process all across the board. If a scouting agent, if a talent scout goes out and he sees a player, but the player is a piece of shit or he doesn't get along with the player, it's not likely that he will put in a good word. We're human. We have biases all day long. We like certain artists over certain other artists because of the way they make us feel. It might be the way they make us, the way they look, the way that we're attracted to them, the way that they might be similar to us and their story might be similar to ours or whatever the case might be. You look at an artist like Tyler or an artist like Cassie or an artist like, I'm not going to say Beyonce because she look good and she could blow, she could sing, right? But there are plenty of singers that cannot sing, but they are sexy and they look good or they're nice, or in some very dark circumstances, they're putting out and they're giving up that cat for the opportunity. I'm not talking about Tyler. I'm not talking about Cassie. I'm not talking about anyone in particular, but we're not going to act like certain people don't get opportunities because of the things that they do or the way that they look. So that sort of lends to the conversation. It's like, okay, well, if we've been telling our children all of our lives, all of their lives, that the harder you work, the more successful you will be, how can we ignore these facts? Where some people are jumping leaps and bounds and head and shoulders above other people that are probably more deserving than them, quote unquote, simply by looking good or uh, doing things for people that will get them further, where favoritism is now factored into the process. How do you compete with that? If I don't have a daughter, but if I had a daughter, what do I tell her to do? Do I tell her, you better be prepared to give up some coochie for an opportunity? Just last night before I went to bed, I was watching Candace Owens, uh, one of the episodes in her series about Harvey Weinstein. And in this episode, she's reading like sort of like court transcriptions about this girl who was on the stand, his accuser, one of Harvey Weinstein's accusers, the one that got him locked up for 27 years in New York or L.A. I think it was L.A. And she's reading the line of questioning. And in that line of questioning, where she's accusing him of basically horribly assaulting her, which I'm not saying he did or didn't, but the lawyer he's basically cross-examining her, and he's saying, well, if you were so afraid and you were so victimized by Harvey Weinstein, why is it that in these text messages that I'm reading, you're like eager to see him again and you're contacting him all the time about opportunities? It sort of seems like you were trying to get him to read, because in the transcript, she's trying to get him to read a screenplay or something that she had written up. And Harvey Weinstein kind of seemed like he wasn't fucking with it. But she kept hitting him up, kept hitting up his team, his intern or his assistant, to get this screenplay to him so that he could review it and possibly give her an opportunity. Now, this is after the alleged attack. Why are you contacting this man over and over again after you supposedly have been horribly and brutally assaulted? And, the inference is that it seems as if she's approaching him for the opportunity to be seen, heard, and be catapulted to the level of stardom that we know Harvey Weinstein is capable of catapulting her to, but he wasn't biting. He's not giving in. So she's trying to use her cooter to get her what she wants, and when it didn't work out, the rest is history. It's much more prevalent in acting. I think sports is harder because if a motherfucker can jump out the gym and he's got a 8 foot wingspan and he's 7'5", it's kind of hard to play favoritism with the hard facts. Wimbayama from San Antonio Spurs is a freak of nature. He was born with the tools that he needs to make it to where he needs to go. Now there are a bunch of archways that he has to make it through, no pun intended, to get to where he wanted to go, because he has to be seen by scouts. He's got to pass those tests. He's got to shake hands. He's got to be liked a little bit. He's got to be presentable. He's got to be ready, And in terms of being ready, I believe the quote is, it's like opportunity favors the prepared, or something like that. And that's true, but not all the time, bro. Because like Anthony Mackie said, he's seen people be taken from zero, nothing, the worst of the worst, and you get dressed up, you get ran through this machine that will put these filters on you. Even if we're talking about the music industry, auto-tune, they'll send you to get surgery, they'll pay for it. The labels will send you to get the fat sucked out of your body, your booty pumped up, your lips filled, your breasts augmented, and they will even reshape your face. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny here, but look at what happened to SZA. SZA was wildly talented far before the look change. And now here she is 10, 15 years later, and she's saying out loud that she regrets getting a BBL. The same thing with Lotto. No. I think it was Lotto that said that. She regrets getting a BBL, right? So that kind of alludes to there was something that they didn't even really want to do in the first place. But it was like a means to an end. They did it so that they could fit the part. They could look the part. So somebody like, SZA, as talented as she was as a writer, as a singer, even as a dancer, because she did gymnastics, she had all of the tools, but they needed to complete the package with the look, which would get her through many doors. Because let's be honest, the more that you want to F someone, the easier it will be for you to be like, oh, yeah, just come on, go ahead and go through. A pretty girl, say you work in security backstage. You work in security backstage, and a pretty girl walks up and say, oh, I'm with the artist. You're probably inclined to believe her because she bad as hell. Now, if she run up looking like, the donkey from the Winnie the Pooh movie, you're going to be like, no, you're not with the artist. But you could be so fine, even if he don't think you really was with the artist, he'd be like, Chris Brown wouldn't mind me letting her fine ass back, so just take your goofy ass to the back. We are human. We are drawn to the beauty. We're drawn to the beautiful. We love the way beautiful things look and they make us feel. It allows us something to aspire to. Talent is cool, but when it's paired with beauty, when it's paired with booty, it's a different level. It's a different thing. I don't know, man. I'm not gonna rant too much longer, but you let me know what you think in the comments. Hit that like, hit the subscribe, or do whatever you gotta do. Let me know what you think. I don't think what Anthony Mackie said was wrong. We have to tell our children the truth. Work hard, be prepared, build your skills, but you have to also understand that you are up against the people that are willing to go lower than you to go higher than you. This is Streams, episode 66, I believe. Holla at me, man. I'm probably about to do another episode.